Joining me now is House Intelligence Ranking Republican Devin Nunes. Devin, we've been pouring and digging into this report. Your reaction to this explosive new GOP report from Senate Homeland Security and Senate Finance, what's your reaction to it?
Well, look, this was bigger than even we thought it was. We had some of this initial information. We had expressed this to the public. Remember, this all came up during the impeachment when they were accusing Donald Trump of having something to do with Ukraine after they had accused him of having something to do with Russia. And I think in your monologue, you hit it exactly right. All this time, the government was sitting on records that clearly showed money flowing directly to the Biden family. And this is much bigger than I ever thought it was, Liz, and I will have to say this. Senator Grassley and Senator Johnson, they stayed tough, they stayed strong, they were attacked viciously, just like House Republicans were for the investigation that we led, and they deserve our nation's gratitude for the work that they've done, because the Democrats did everything they could to possibly cover this up. And it's sad to say, but once again, it's a textbook example of whatever the left accuses you of doing, they're the ones doing it. And this one just happens to be, it's very, very broad. You've got Russia, Ukraine, and the Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah, let's, team in the booth, let's show the viewers what we found. Just keep that information flowing. We want the viewers to see what's going on. We want to keep the viewers informed about what this report says. Let's show it. It cites a, quote, vast financial network overseas involving Joe and Hunter Biden, that it did interfere with Obama administration policy. It cites potential criminal activity relating to transactions among and between Hunter Biden, his family, as you point out, Ukrainian, Russian, Kazakh, and Chinese nationals. All right, this involves 45,000 pages of Obama administration records, 8 witnesses. The one thing that really did pop out, too, Hunter Biden's dealings with Chinese communist officials resulted in millions of dollars of cash flow. Can you take this on?
Yeah, so a couple thoughts that I think are important. First, I would focus on the fact that when we were supposedly being accused, we Republicans and Trump being accused of doing something nefarious with Ukraine, and that continues to this day, including myself, Senator Johnson, Senator Grassley have been accused of these nefarious activities the whole time. Even the people that came and testified, you now know the State Department. So a lot of these were State Department officials came and testified during impeachment to bolster the impeachment that the Democrats did against the president. All that time, the State Department knew about these concerns. And look, it was clear because Hillary Clinton had used this originally. The mainstream media had dirtied up Biden in 2015 when they were trying to get him out of the race. I'm assuming that's why they did this. And Biden quickly got out of the race because the Clintons were using it against him. So it's amazing. The media is once again to blame in this, all of this, Liz, because they knew about this in 2015. They actually knew about Ukraine meddling in the election on behalf of Clinton. Back in 2017, there were stories that came up. So the fact that a fake whistleblower had come in that clearly had something to do with all of this, it's rather astonishing, to be frank.
You know, we had former acting DNI Rick Grinnell on with us, and he said that what he was hearing from government officials that they were, quote, appalled at what they found, what Hunter Biden was doing, making use of foreign embassies to do business dealings. That's the allegation. You know, we had George Kent and another official. They tried to warn the Biden staff, and they were brushed aside and just set aside. The issue that Hunter Biden got Secret Service protection to take hundreds of flights to dozens of cities overseas, including in Russia and China, while his father was vice president. You know, this feels like tip of the iceberg stuff. Your reaction?
I think it does, and I would say that I would focus on the money that came from a billionaire who was the wife of the former mayor of Moscow. So remember, the mayor of Moscow has got to be very, very tight with Vladimir Putin. Okay, so all of those people are very close. The fact that, this isn't like some, dinner that they had in the Red Square. This was, I think the number was $3.5 or $4 million. What was that money for? Somebody needs to answer those questions, and I think Joe Biden really needs to answer the questions. Why did his son get all that money? And remember, it was Joe Biden and Clinton and all of these people that have been, and the media, they've been running around saying that Trump and Republicans had something to do with Russia, when the whole damn time They were the ones who were doing something with Russia the whole time, and they knew about it.
Is that what? Let me ask you something. So they knew about allegedly the skeletons in the Biden's closet. Is that what fired up the Democrats to go full bore to blast the Trump campaign?
You know, look, I think looking back at all of this now, what happens is the Democrats hire these dirty Oppo research. And what they do is they say, okay, what could be bombshells and how do we deflect? So Clinton clearly had problems because she had done resets with Russia. She probably thought the Russians had her emails. So I think they did a deflection. That was part of what they ran this operation on. I think same thing with impeachment. They knew that Biden had issues with Ukraine, and now it ends up it wasn't just Ukraine, it was also Russia, also China, also Kazakhstan. I think they run these operations to deflect the public's attention, and you have to remember, the media, if you ever had any doubt, there is no question today, the media is the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party and this entire Biden campaign.
Congressman, did the Mueller report, which I have poured through, did the Mueller report ever reveal any activity like this in the Trump campaign?
Well, not only that, they didn't even look. I mean, you have, they wiped their phones. They didn't even look at any of this. And when Mueller first came in and walked in the door, we knew at the time.
Sorry, my question is, let me back up. Hang on, I've got to interrupt. Okay. Did the Mueller report indicate any similar activity that the Senate GOP report found with the Bidens?
No.
Did Carter Page ever get wired any money like this?
Yeah, it's a very good point. Zero money. Can you imagine if any of Donald Trump's children or relatives or business partners got wired this type of money? I mean, I bet if it was even just a few $1,000s, they would have made a big deal. This is millions of dollars that were moved to the Biden family. This is a big story, and it's embarrassing that the media's covered it up for this long. And Mueller didn't even go look at this, when in fact he should have, because he would have found out quickly it was always the Clinton campaign and the Democrats who were working with Russians to try to sway the election.
All right, Congressman Devin Nunes, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Liz. Thanks for having me.